Infinite number. We got to get into the talk of Gears of War. Now, why I want to bring up Gears of War is for a couple of reasons. I think it's safe to admit that at some point of the year, we're getting a new Gears of War. Now, when I say new, let me explain. We are getting Gears something this year. Now, the question remains of whether or not that is E-Day this year to line up for the 20th anniversary of Gears of War in 2026, where if they're doing things by the numbers, you get E-Day this year, you get the Gears of War trilogy or the Marcus Fenix collection in 26 to celebrate the 20th anniversary of Gears, bringing it back using Unreal Engine 5. And we saw how that works for Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, right? Ninja Gaiden 2, great game, but it's aged considerably since the 360 era. They redid it in Unreal Engine 5, and it's brilliant. It's a massive, massive step up. But we're talking about the Coalition here. And if there's any one studio that is going to deliver a incredible vision and retelling and recreation of the best trilogy in gaming through Gears 1, 2, and 3 using Unreal Engine 5, celebrating the 20th anniversary in 2026, it's the Coalition. There's no doubt about it. Now, why this has stirred up conversation is because just recently it was reported by Hazardor Gaming that Phil Spencer had gone over and was hanging out with the team over at the Coalition. He visited the studio, and according to Hazardor on his post, Phil Spencer visited Coalition, and they were catching up with the development progress for Gears of War E-Day. Now, of course, I'm going to read what Phil Spencer had to say on his tweet regarding his visit. Phil said this: spent some quality time this week with the team at the Coalition, catching up and seeing their progress on Gears of War E-Day. Now, granted, we know Gears of War E-Day is coming. It was confirmed last June. Like I said before, I was ass in seat. I nearly fell out of my seat when I saw that. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Gears is back. And it's not just Gears. It's Gears of War. Something we all wanted it to be called, again, as it should be. That should be the standing calling card. It's Gears of War, not Gears whatever. It's just not. But we have heard, Infinite Umbra, that there is this mythical Marcus Fenix collection. I've heard from numerous sources that it is, in fact, real. Well, the question now remains on whether or not that is happening this year. And I actually think it would be a bit backwards. Personally, I think that the original rumor that we heard going into the new year, which of course is where we are now, that Gears of War E-Day was going to hit. Now, there's some talk about it actually happening in December of this year. And the reason why they chose that so far out is because of the success that came the way of Indiana Jones. It was very successful launching in December. Now, games normally don't do well then because it's the end of the year. People are on vacation. People aren't really playing games. Well, again, it's a rumor, folks, so take it with a grain of salt. But the fact that Phil is making the rounds, the fact that we keep hearing that Gears of War E-Day is this year, we heard that and everyone was blown out of the wind and said, wait a second, how could Gears of War E-Day release this year on top of everything? Fable still, Call of Duty at the end of the year? Oh my God, is it possible? I think it's very possible. But again, one of the things, and again, this is a bit of a beefy conversation because once Hazardor Gaming had reported on January 31st that now the newest rumor is that the Gears of War trilogy collection is getting announced and will be day one for not only Xbox Game Pass, and PC. It's gonna be releasing day one on PlayStation 5, according to Ecstasies. Now, again, I just don't see that happening this year. You're not going to get two Gears games this year And I think that this is just my opinion, folks. It makes more sense to have Gears of War E-Day where they're starting. This is where it started, folks. We're going to get to see exactly how it played out, not in a book form, but in a game form. You released that this year for the 20th anniversary. Well, then you release the trilogy, which celebrates that, and you bring it out in Unreal Engine 5. And listen, if it launches for PlayStation Day and Date, I'm done caring. I at this point, I don't care. Hopefully, it can even release on Nintendo. It make more money for Xbox and more investment in consoles and in hardware and in services, and I win as an Xbox gamer. Let's talk Gears of War.
Yeah, I don't know what. I think you covered so much of it, Boom. Again, I don't know what to start.
Well, I say start with Gears of War E-Day.
Well, as far as E-Day, I'm super excited about that. Now, did you mention that it's supposed to land? There's rumor that it would land this year.
Yes, there is absolutely rumors that it is coming out this year. Gears of War E-Day is this year at some point. Again, that's the rumor. I'm not confirming anything, but I have heard that it is this year.
Yeah, like I would doubt it would be this year. It will feel like they would be, I hate to say it this way, so pardon the expression, that they would be blowing their load if they had all of these great games coming this year, from Fable to that to everything else we're getting. I mean, I wouldn't be against it, but hey, I still have the belief, or at least some belief, that Year's E-Day is either it's going to be in the last portions of this gen or next gen as a launch title. So, but maybe I'm overthinking it. Because I look at the timeline of things and I see when they had the other projects they were working on, the 2 projects that were canceled, if you all remember. And it seems like, how did they jump from that to having this prepared that fast? It seems a little fast to me. So I would doubt that it would be this year, but I've been wrong before on that. So I can't say for certain one way or another. But I will say is that I am super excited for it to actually happen. Who booed me? Abdel. You spelled my name wrong too. So yeah, whoever Umrah is, boo him. Yay. Yeah. Shout out to Abdel. No, I'm super excited about that, man. I cannot wait. I think it's going to be a great return to form. Do I have to express my love for Unreal Engine for you all to get it again?
I don't think you have, but you're always welcome to do so, sir. You know, there are no boundaries on this podcast.
Listen, I'm going to glaze him up a little bit. I am in love with Unreal Engine. If I could propose to it, I would. I expect the coalition, who are masters at it, to turn out something crazy. That's why I'm almost of the belief, at least, that it will be next gen. And I can only imagine how insane it's going to look once we do see it. But I'll go and I guess hedge the bets that it will be maybe next year or the year after, whatever will be considered the tail end of this gen, if not the beginning of next gen, is when I would expect E-Day to drop, I would say. But I would be 100% behind it happening sooner than that. As far as, I don't know, Nino. He said, would it beat Hellblade 2's visuals? Hey,
it might be better than that. I mean, again, they think about this for a second. Let me just interject there, because it's a great question, great question. But why I think it'd be better is because it's the coalition that stepped in to help the team at Avowed. They stepped in to help Hellblade. They've actually, I've heard rumors that there's an actual team that they have within Xbox, and again, this is just a rumor, folks, that literally are just masters of the Unreal Engine 5, and they go around from studio to studio helping where it's needed.
I would believe it. I believe it. Just because you look at some of the teams that we've seen him helping with, from Undead Labs to
yes, it's another one. There you go.
To Obsidian and all of that. I can believe that for sure. We know for sure Coalition has helped with a lot of those. So I believe they got a little squad together that can go help them do that. That makes sense. And why not? Some of the best in the game doing it. Yeah, use them. And there's something that we've all talked about before. Like, hey, you got all these different excellent talent from different studios or whatever that could benefit from, not cross pollination, I guess, but cross help, if you will, or at least assistance. And why not use somebody like the Coalition, people who know what they're doing, to help these devs get themselves in order with Unreal? Perfect use of your talent, I would say. But yeah, man, super excited for E-Day. I mean, we have to see more before I can go on about it and gush on about it more. I will say, on the whole thought of, the Marcus Fenix collection, I guess, or whatever they're calling it now. Shout out to Special Nick. He had been talking about this for years now.
For years, dude. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's past due for that. I guess that chicken, that rooster, to come home and roost, as they would say, or chicken come home and roost. So I expect that to land at some point. And if it happens to be over on PS5 as well, hey, it is what it is. I think, though, that would be best for the health of the multiplayer for the franchise too. So that could be a positive thing, possibly, and it is older game. So I'm not going to, cry over that. And still, though, I will, I'm a realist. I'm not going to lie to people. I'll tell you how I feel. And some people are like, oh, you shouldn't listen. I still feel a slight tingle in my spirit with seeing some of a tent pole appear on another platform. I'm not going to lie to you.
Wrong for that.
I'm just going to be real. Yeah, I'm just going to be real. It does feel odd to see. Now, I'm not saying that they need to change this, they need to do this. I'm not saying any of that, but it does feel odd. And some people will act like they're so above it. Why do you care? It's like, all right. But
it's okay to have feelings, man. It really is.
It's okay. Like, it's a conditioning that I'm trying to get myself away from, because this is something that they and the developers, the publishers, have tuned us to be. And I'm talking about from Nintendo and Sega days to now.
Yes.
This is not something that we just did. The tribalism was long established by these publishers. So it is a bit of a work to get past that. So I will say that if it does happen to land on PlayStation, hey, for those over there who haven't played it, you're getting a spectacular series if they're bringing all three. If they're being done in Unreal Engine 5, oh God, I cannot wait.
They're getting it, this series at its pinnacle.
I cannot wait. Part 3, of course, much like Halo for me, is the best in the series.
Yeah, tip of spear. I'd have to push back if anyone argued that.
Yeah, these easily. I'm talking about from everything from the campaign to multiplayer, everything. Horde mode, just a masterpiece almost, if you will, for third-person action, shooter. I would say that game still holds up now, but I can only imagine how crazy that's going to look in Unreal Engine 5, man. Dude. So listen, again, Xbox has, and gamers, I guess, of Xbox have a lot to look forward to. So I do hope that this happens, because, again, shout out to Nick. He's been saying it for a long time.
He sure has.
He's been burned so many times over and over and over about it happening. And I know he's like, "But this, go ahead and let this happen, Mike, so I can get past this." I know he wants to know. I know he wants to move past it. Yeah. So this needs to happen. So I'm all for it.
I mean, listen. I just looking from the outside in, it makes more sense to get Gears of War E-Day out this year, and then for next year, celebrating the trilogy's re-release in Unreal Engine 5. That's storybook kind of stuff. Now, again, it's just my personal opinion. It feel a bit a little weird personally if you try to release 2 Gears of War games in 1 year, which is why I'm settling in on Gears, getting a gameplay trailer and an announcement date for this year at June. That, again, just a theory, just a thought. But Jamie, let's bring you in on the conversation. Where do you feel Gears of War E-Day fits in versus the rumored Gears of War, the Marcus Fenix collection, redone in Unreal Engine 5? Does it make sense to put the cart before the horse? And we play it this year, and we enjoy the trilogy. It's an amazing thing, and it's all 3 games. It's some cutting floor room stuff that was left out on the 360. They're throwing it back in here. That's also a rumor. And then you play the original where it all started. Or does it make more sense for them to get E-Day done, get it out this year, along with a plethora of incredible first-party games they have coming out this year, and then next year, celebrating the 20th anniversary of the franchise, you drop the trilogy that they're talking about?
I have to say I'm leaning towards Gears E-Day is next year.
Okay, that's fair.
And the reason, because that would be a hell of a way to celebrate the 20th anniversary. Like
I
the
agree.
trilogy would be like, yeah, that's cool, but I think a new Gears game that looked like the thing we saw last year, I think that would be the way to do it. And plus, they could be launching a new piece of hardware or new hardware in general with a new Gears game, and I think that would have more of an impact than a trilogy collection. Now, I do think the trilogy collection could happen this year, but it depends on what style of trilogy collection, because Gears of War Ultimate Edition, I've been saying this for years, Gears of War Ultimate Edition is already it's a one-to-one remake of the first game in Unreal Engine 4. New assets, new directed cutscenes, even the PC chapter, and they did an excellent job with it. So, like, all they have to do really is import the first game in Unreal Engine 5 and then do the same thing, well, remake 2 and 3. That's a tall order. If it's just a remaster of the 360 games we've got now, okay, fair enough. Because already, on Xbox, they already 4K 60, HDR, quick resume, all that stuff. So, like, if it's a remaster, that's cool, I guess, more achievements. But if they're going to do the Ultimate Edition route, but, do 2 and 3 as well, that's exciting. Gears of War has been out of the limelight for so long. Like, Gears 5 launched in 2019, and we haven't really had anything since. Yeah, we had the Hive Busters expansion, which was fantastic. We had Gears Tactics, which was really cool. But I think, there's been rumors of a Gears of War Marcus Fenix collection that's been floating around, I want to say, since 2017. It's just people have really been wanting this, and Microsoft, they have so many old games that people want to have brought back, even though we already have access to them. So, like, even if they are going to put them on new platforms, like, there's Xbox gamers that have been wanting this for years to play through these games again, look prettier natively, new engine, all this stuff. So, yeah, I could totally see that happening. And if they get people into the collection this year, get people hyped, like, we don't know what the deal is with E-Day next year. Are they good? Is that going to be only on Xbox? I could say that would push people onto the the new Xbox platforms. But, like, honestly, even if they just announce if it's Gears of War 2 Ultimate Edition, I'd be happy, because that's one of my favorite games of all time. I think it's the best Gears game. But I could totally see that happening. Yeah.